Most people think political collapse is loud, dramatic, and impossible to miss, but the truth is far more unsettling because it usually starts quietly, behind closed doors, with a single idea that seems absurd at first and then slowly exposes something much bigger. What you're about to hear isn't just about Greenland or tariffs or immigration, it's about how power really works when loyalty is demanded but never returned, how institutions respond when fear stops working, and why a president who thrives on chaos can suddenly find himself surrounded by resistance he cannot control. This story isn't told through breaking news alerts or viral clips, but through the moments in between, the silences, the hedging statements, the quiet revolts, and the decisions that never make headlines but change everything. By the end of this video, you'll understand why what looks like political noise is actually a warning, why the most dangerous phase of power isn't its rise, but its unraveling, and why this moment matters far more than most people realize. Stay with me, because once you see the pattern, you won't be able to unsee it, and the final insight changes how this entire story should be understood. Imagine a quiet morning in Washington, the kind where the White House hallways look calm on the surface. But underneath that silence, something volatile is building. Phones buzzing in pockets, aides exchanging looks without speaking, everyone sensing that today is not going to be normal. And somewhere inside that building, Donald Trump is once again circling an idea that refuses to leave his mind, an idea that sounds absurd to the outside world but feels powerful to him, Greenland. And in that moment, what begins as a foreign policy headline quietly transforms into something much bigger, a story about loyalty, ego, punishment, and a political system starting to fracture under the weight of one man's instincts. For Donald Trump, power has never been about institutions or process. It has always been about submission, about loyalty offered upward without question. And that is why this moment matters so much. Because while Trump demands absolute loyalty from everyone around him, he has never believed in returning it. And now, finally, members of his own party are beginning to understand the cost of that imbalance. When Senate Republicans push back, when even the most hawkish voices hesitate, Trump doesn't hear policy disagreement, he hears betrayal. And betrayal to Trump is unforgivable. That's why the Greenland episode isn't really about land or minerals or strategy. It's about control, about Trump testing whether the party still flinches when he speaks. And for the first time in a long while, the flinch doesn't come. Mike Johnson steps in front of the cameras, insisting nothing is happening, insisting there's no war, no invasion, no crisis. But what he's really doing is trying to hold together a House majority so thin that a single crack could bring the entire structure down. And when he blames the media or Democrats for exaggerating Trump's own words, it's not messaging, it's damage control. The contradiction is obvious and dangerous at the same time, because Trump's legal argument to the Supreme Court is that tariffs are justified by national security, yet his allies claim there is no national security threat when it comes to Greenland, and both of those things cannot be true at the same time. This is where the Senate revolt begins to harden, not as a dramatic rebellion, but as something far more threatening to Trump, a collective realization. Rand Paul doesn't sound emotional when he says there is no Republican support for this. Even among the hawks, he sounds methodical, institutional, like someone reminding the system that it still exists. And that matters because Trump's power only works when people believe he is inevitable. Ted Cruz hedges, avoids full endorsement, talks around the issue instead of embracing it, and that hesitation alone sends a signal that Trump feels instantly. Then comes Bill Cassidy, and his story is the cautionary tale every Republican understands immediately. Because Cassidy did everything Trump demanded after impeachment. He humbled himself publicly. He voted in ways he knew were wrong. He chased approval that never came. And the moment he stopped being useful, Trump destroyed him politically without hesitation. That endorsement of Cassidy